My husband pawned our wedding ring to buy a limited edition video game, so I made sure he lost everything he owned. He told me he lost it at the gym. I watched him pretend to panic, checking under the couch cushions, retracing his steps, calling the front desk 3 times. His performance was almost convincing. We spent 3 days searching together. I even helped him file the insurance claim, sitting next to him while he typed out the false report about how devastated we both were. Then I found the pawn shop receipt wedged in his gaming chair, tucked between the armrest and the seat cushion like trash. $75 for a ring worth $3 grand. The date on the receipt was the same day that new Battleforge Legends dropped with exclusive content for early buyers. I held that receipt in my hand for a solid 10 minutes, just staring at it. This was the ring his grandfather wore for 50 years before passing it down. The ring we promised to cherish forever. Sold for less than the cost of dinner so he could get a digital sword or whatever the hell was in that game. When I confronted him, he didn't even look away from his screen, just kept clicking his mouse, eyes locked on his monitors. He said the game was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and rings are just metal. Said I was being materialistic, that our love didn't need symbols. Then he asked me to close the door because I was being loud and his guild could hear me through his headset. I didn't yell, didn't cry, just closed the door and went to our bedroom. That's when I started planning. I stayed calm over the next few weeks, played the supportive wife while I documented everything. Bank statements showing $8 grand on in-game purchases last year, credit card bills I'd never seen before, screenshots of his gaming logs showing 16-hour sessions, sometimes 20. I photographed the garage, the graveyard of destroyed equipment, smashed controllers with broken analog sticks, a monitor face down on the concrete, screen shattered, a keyboard missing half its keys from rage typing, each item representing a moment when a game didn't go his way and he lost control. I pulled our phone records, counted how many times he'd called in sick to work, 17 times in 4 months, all for game releases or tournaments. I found the warning letters from his boss that he'd hidden in his desk drawer. Final written warning, he was 1 absence away from termination. Then I dug deeper into our finances and found something that made my hands shake. 2 credit cards I'd never seen before, both in my name, my social security number, my information, applications I never filled out, $15,000 in charges across both cards. Every single purchase was gaming related. Equipment, subscriptions, in-game currency, tournament entry fees. He'd committed identity theft against his own wife. I drove to the police station the next morning while he slept off an all-night gaming session, filed a report for identity fraud. The officer seemed surprised at first, said spousal cases were tricky, but when I showed him I had no knowledge of the accounts and never consented, he took it seriously. Gave me a case number and told me to document everything. I met with a divorce attorney that same afternoon, brought 3 folders of evidence, the pawn shop receipts, the bank statements, the credit card fraud, the smashed equipment photos, his work warnings, everything. She looked through it all and said I had one of the strongest cases she'd seen. Then I went home and kept playing my role. Made dinner, asked about his day, acted normal. The divorce papers were served while he was at a tournament. I had the locks changed that same afternoon. Opened a new bank account in only my name and transferred my half of our savings. Froze the joint credit cards. Removed him from my phone plan. Canceled his gaming subscriptions, all 40 of them. His parents called me that evening, screaming about how I was ruining their son's life over a hobby, how he needed his space to relax, how every man deserves time for his interests. I let them finish their speech. Then I texted them photos. Every family heirloom he'd pawned. His grandmother's bracelet sold for $40. Their silver candlesticks from their wedding, $60. His grandfather's watch, $55. Everything sacrificed for game money. They didn't call back. The divorce took 4 months. He fought for joint custody, claimed he was a dedicated father. The judge ordered supervised visitation to evaluate his parenting. The report came back devastating. He'd spent the entire hour on his phone playing mobile games. Our daughter tried to show him her drawing. He said, "That's nice, honey," without looking up. She asked him to play blocks. He stacked 3 while scrolling with his other hand. The supervisor noted he seemed physically present but completely absent mentally. The judge granted me full custody, the house, and 70% of remaining assets when I presented the identity theft police report and evidence he'd stolen from his own family to fund his addiction. Last I heard, he's couch surfing with his gaming guild, still unemployed, still playing 20 hours a day.